We all kind of live in the cloud, but the cloud itself, well, it lives right here on Earth, inside these massive, humming buildings called data centers. So what happens when one of these digital cathedrals gets old and needs to be shut down? Let me tell you, it is not as simple as just flipping a switch. So let's dive into the incredibly high-stakes process of what happens when a data center dies.
Right. Taking a data center offline, or decommissioning it, is a massive, massive job. And as this quote puts it, it's a critical operation that has to be planned with almost military precision. Why? Well, because if you get it wrong, the consequences are just enormous.
Okay, so what are we talking about here? What are the real risks if you mess this up? Well, they're not just technical glitches. We're talking about potential catastrophe. And believe me, the stakes are sky high. A massive data breach can happen if just one hard drive goes missing. You could be facing huge financial losses, both from assets you didn't recover and from the crushing fines for not following the rules. And on top of that, there's the serious environmental damage from tons of e-waste, and of course, the legal nightmare that comes with all of it.
So that brings us to what's often called the digital graveyard problem. I mean, why does a data center even need to be shut down in the first place?
Well, it usually comes down to one thing: progress. Maybe a company's moving everything to the cloud, so their physical data center is just not needed anymore, or the tech inside is just plain old and outdated, or the business is streamlining its operations.
Honestly, the best way to think about it is like you're moving out of a house. You wouldn't just walk away and leave all your furniture and personal files behind, would you? Of course not. You've got to pack up your valuables, get rid of the junk responsibly, and clean the place up. A data center is the exact same principle, just on a massive and way, way more complex scale.
So how in the world do you solve a problem this complicated? Well, you need a blueprint. You need a future-proof plan that sees every single challenge coming from a mile away.
The secret sauce here is being proactive and having a system. And this is so important. This is not just an IT job. A successful decommissioning is a total team sport. You need IT, facilities, finance, and the legal eagles all working together, covering every single angle. All right, let's get into the playbook itself. The whole thing kicks off with a plan, a really, really detailed and meticulous plan.
See, the foundation for this whole operation is built on these 6 pillars. You start by figuring out why you're even doing this and getting the right team in place. Then you get into the nitty-gritty, creating a full inventory of every single thing, checking the condition of your assets, and analyzing every possible risk before a single plug is pulled.
Now we get to maybe the most sensitive part of this whole dance: data sanitization. And let's be super clear, this is not just dragging files to the trash bin. We're talking about a process that makes data permanently, forensically, and irreversibly gone. There is no undo button here.
And what's really fascinating is that not all data destruction methods are the same. It's a whole spectrum. For low-risk stuff, a simple one-pass wipe, like NIST Clear, is quick and you can verify it's done. For more sensitive information, say financial records, you might step it up to the Department of Defense's 3-pass standard. But for the top secret, this can never see the light of day data, then you've got the Gutman method. It overwrites the data 35 times. Yeah, it's total overkill for most, but it makes recovery absolutely forensically impossible.
So how do you prove it's all gone for good? You get a receipt. It's called a certificate of data destruction, and it's the official, auditable proof that your data has been wiped off the face of the earth. This single piece of paper, it's your legal shield against any future problems.
So once the data is certified as destroyed, the real physical work begins. And it's this delicate, carefully choreographed dance of safely shutting down all the systems, unplugging this huge web of power and network cables, and then coordinating the massive logistical challenge of actually removing thousands of pieces of heavy equipment. Okay, so the data's gone. What about all that stuff? All that hardware? This is where the project shifts from a cleanup job into a real opportunity to find hidden value. When it comes to old tech, you've got 2 roads you can go down. The wrong road? Yeah, that leads to landfills filled with hazardous materials, and probably some pretty big fines. But the right road, responsible recycling, that's where you can actually recover valuable resources, make sure you're following the law, and show that your company is a good corporate citizen. The gold standard here is to partner with the pros, a certified IT asset disposition, or ITAD vendor. Specifically, you want to look for one with an R2v3 certification. It's a really tough standard that guarantees they'll handle e-waste safely and use top-notch data destruction methods. It's how you turn a huge potential liability into a verifiable act of sustainability.
The equipment's gone, the data's been destroyed, but guess what? The job still isn't over. The final phase is all about the building itself. A complete decommissioning means leaving the site in absolutely pristine condition. We're talking about every last cable, every server rack, all the support infrastructure, it all has to go. The goal is to hand the keys back to a site that's a completely clean slate, ready for whatever comes next. And last but not least, the paperwork. This is about dotting the I's and crossing the T's. You got to double-check compliance with all the local e-waste laws, run final audits to prove you did everything right, and create detailed reports for accountability. And you know what's really smart? Documenting all the lessons you learned so the next project goes even better. So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. We spend a ton of time and money building and running these data centers, but their end of life is every bit as complex and just as important. Getting that end part right is the only way you can truly protect data, recover value, and protect the environment. Which kind of leaves us with one last thought. We've seen the incredible lengths people go to make data actually disappear. But in a world that is completely built on data, can anything we create ever be truly gone? Something to think about.